All right, always a pleasure to catch up with Tim Elliott. Tim, I got to ask you, big win back in March over a very tough prospect, a guy that had a lot of hype around him in Tagir Ulanbekov. Talk to me first, I guess, just about that win and I don't know, kind of what you took out of it in terms of your performance.
I mean, big win for sure. Definitely needed that one. I feel like I should be on a 4-fight win streak right now with the Mathias fight. I feel like I kind of got screwed out of that fight. But I was having fun in the Tagir fight, and my confidence came, even more so after that fight. So there's a lot more where that came from. I feel like I'm learning again, and I'm having fun again, and this just keeps happening each time. I feel like I'm about down and out in this game. Something happens, and I just feel a little resurge of confidence, and the Tagir win definitely did that.
I love it. Now, afterwards, of course, you got into all kinds of controversy for admitting that, hell yeah, I grabbed the gloves, and people got mad at you. And I'm just curious, like, is there any part of you that regrets kind of openly speaking about it, or do you just think people need to realize, like, bro, it's a fist fight in a cage in there? I mean, I know we all say it's a sport, but there's a damn fist fight going on in there. Things are going to happen.
I mean, even in basketball, the hand is part of the ball. They're not crying if you slap them in the hand. Like, I'm not trying to grab his glove. I'm a wrist control guy. And like the gloves are just around the wrist. And it's just like the cage. You put your hand on the cage, your fingers go in it. Most of the time, guys aren't trying to grab the cage. It's just something that happens. But no, I'm not. I'm too old in this game to try to convince people one way or the other of anything. I'm just trying to go out and get my wins right now. I got a family to feed. I'm finally making money in this sport. I've been in the UFC since 2012 and just now making a real living. And to hear people criticize or call me a dirty fighter is fine. Doesn't bother me one way or another. Any press is good press. And right now I'm as popular as I've ever been because a lot of people hate me.
That's great that you can impress it. I mean, if you can embrace it, it's cool. The money still comes in. So I guess it's funny. You touched on something there, Tim. I mean, ups and downs, roller coasters. I mean, have there been spots along the way where you're like, I hate this sport and I'm getting out of it, and there's no way? Have you had that consideration along the way?
I've been really lucky in the sense that I've have such a good support team, so I don't really go through that. Obviously, when I had my knee injury, that was a big one. And then even the loss in the Nicolau fight was kind of hard to swallow, but I really that was one of the first times in a long time where I felt like James and I were really clicking, as far as coach and athlete. And we didn't get the win, but that fight kind of propelled me to really do well in the Tagir fight. And in the Tagir fight, man, him and I we were really in sync and on the same level. And uh, that's super motivating. And I'm really changing the way that I'm training. I had Brandon Moreno up here. I trained with him all last week, and like, we're trying to be the hardest. Well, at least on my end, I'm trying to be the hardest working guy in the gym. And secretly I'm like, I'm going to drill this motherfucker under the table. Well, like, I can't do that with 23-year-old Brandon, or however old he is, Brandon Moreno. I'm never going to be able to outwork these young kids, including Amir Albazi. Like, he's a lot younger than I am, has a lot less, miles on his tires. But the way we're training now is I'm training specifically to beat just Amir Albazi. And when I did that for Tagir, the fight was really, I don't want to say it was easy, but it played out exactly how James said it was going to. Like, everything that happened in the fight were things that we had planned on and prepared for. And I feel like the Amir Albazi fight's going to be the same way. To whereas before in Vegas, I was just like, train hard, train hard, train hard, train hard. Well, everybody's doing that, but not everybody has a coach that's willing to like really like sacrifice his name and everything on this is the way to beat a particular guy. And James Krause can do that. And like, we're doing that now. And man, I feel really, really confident that most guys aren't doing that. And if you're not doing that, then you're probably not going to beat me or any of our guys. We got Jeff Molina fighting this week. And you want to talk about like a real puzzle piece guy, a real chess player, like of the sport. He's the guy. Like, we'll train and he'll maybe be frustrated after one round with me because I'll really wrestle him down and give him all my strength and everything. And I can see he's a little bit frustrated. And then in my head, I'm like, dude, I couldn't do that for 3 fucking rounds. Like, I can maybe beat you for 1 round, but I can't go that hard for 3, and he doesn't really understand that. But like, us old dogs like me and James Krause, we see that guys like Jeff Molina can for 3 rounds, man, or 5 rounds even. That dude he's a hard puzzle to solve. And like, I'm just lucky enough to get to train with these guys every day.
I love it, man. Yeah, a talented prospect there. Looking forward to his fight as well. All right, let's ask you about Amir Albazi. This guy was incredibly aggressive, we'll say, about calling you out. I mean, he was not holding any words back in the things that he was saying. I guess what did you think? Because I don't see a lot of people talking to you that way over the course of your career. This guy wasn't very nice to you, Tim.
Yeah, it was weird because we were already supposed to fight. Like when Sue Madarji pulled out because of his knee injury, they threw Manel Kape in the mix, and they wanted to up the date 4 weeks. And I was like, no, I was fine with fighting him on the same date. I was supposed to fight Sue, but they wanted to up the date. I turned it down, and then they offered Amir Albazi. So I assumed that he had already said yes. So right away I said, yeah, no problem. Perfect. Because they were giving me the same date. Well, then they said he got injured. And then I'm getting videos because I used to live in Las Vegas. I'm getting videos of this guy sparring the next Friday after they said he was injured. So I sent it to my manager. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I said I would wait on this guy. And they said, no, I had to fight somebody else. And then I fought Tagir. And now he's calling me out and talking all this shit. But we were already supposed to fight once.
What do you think with all the things that he's saying? I mean, do you think it's just hype, just a way to kind of I don't know, maybe just sell the fight a little bit, or do you think maybe that little history there, maybe he really doesn't like you, maybe he really does have it out for you?
I don't know. There's no way he can't not like me. I've never met the guy. I don't know anything about him. So like, but I mean, I'm pretty much been friends with everybody that I fought or supposed to fight, like all the flyweights or the little guys and bantamweights. Like I've been pretty close with everybody in the division, and I don't know, maybe it's something that he has to do to get himself hyped up. Either way, it's making the fight more interesting. It's kind of better for me. I've never really fought people that I didn't like before, and like I don't know, I'm getting a little bit grumpy in my old age. I got kids now. Like I'm trying to, like, damn these kids, I'm kick on to the next.
I love it. All right, well, let's put all that stuff out of the side, all the the hype and all. What do you think about him? I mean, he's got an impressive record, still very early in his UFC career, so we haven't seen him tested extensively at the highest level. But what do you think of his game overall?
Really solid. I think very, very technically proficient. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Aggressive, fast, but he's not really special in any one area. There's not a big. It's just like the Tagir fight. Like I knew Tagir was going to be good. I knew he was going to be strong. I knew his wrestling was going to be good, but he doesn't pose a real danger factor. Like he's not real crazy good in any one area. And man, I thrive against technically sound, like technically proficient guys. Where I don't do so well is like weird dudes like Brandon Moreno. Like I want to be the more weird one of the two. And I feel like in this fight, I'm definitely that guy. And, again, I think he's very, very good. I think he's very technically sound, but it's hard to find a guy to train like me. It's hard to find a guy to compete the way that I compete. But I have 3 or 4 guys at my gym that can mirror him every day of the week. I got guys in my gym that can do better versions of him. So, again, I think he's really good, but he's young and he's got a long way to go in the sport, but it's a perfect fight for me. And, again, it's one of those fights where I feel like if I can't beat this guy, then, maybe my old ass is done. But I thought that against the Tagir fight. And I love these young 14-1 guys. Like I'll take those guys every day of the week.
It's funny that you would mention it, like, oh, if I can't get this done, then maybe maybe I'm done. I mean, you're having one of the best streaks of your career, right? I mean, as you said, arguably 4-fight win streak. And now, I mean, now it's like you can start talking about rankings again, and you can start talking about position in the division. So it's weird to hear you say, yeah, or maybe I'm just old and I'm not any good anymore. I mean, do you feel like you're nearing the end of your run?
I really don't. I feel like you said, this is just the beginning for me, but I always put that on myself. Like, if you can't beat this guy, who can you beat? Because I had Brandon Moreno here last week. I know how good he is. I went with him. So I know how good the very, very best guys are. And I feel like I can compete with those guys. But if I can't beat this guy, then I damn sure can't beat Brandon Moreno. You know what I mean? And but like you said, I am on a streak right here, and a win here puts me in a good spot. And I would love to get that Askar out fight after this. I feel like I had a terrible game plan. I was worried about taking the guy down, so I stayed standing with him and got knocked silly on my feet and thought that I lost the fight in the first round and ended up fighting 3 rounds. And I know that's a fight that I should and can win. So that's a fight that I would definitely like to get back. And I'm in no means looking past Amir Albazi, but he's just not the guy. He's not the guy to beat me. And the Nicolau fight, even though I lost that fight, he didn't beat me. That was I lost that fight. He didn't beat me.
What's it like having Brandon Moreno in camp? Like, I know you guys are trying to help each other, but is there any part of you, as you said, I mean, you got a guy of that caliber in there. Are you trying to go in there every day and, let's go toe to toe? Let me make some statements here, or is it kind of trying to help each other? How difficult is that?
Man, I tell you what, we help each other out by doing exactly what you said, going toe to toe. And it's I'm competing with myself mostly and trying to get through my practices and Brandon Moreno, I think, is the same way. But whenever we're training with each other, we're the hardest two working guys in the room. There's nobody in there working harder than us. And the difference is he could probably do 3 of those practices in a day, and I got one. I got one in me. But again, Brandon's training differently than I am, and without having a coach like James Krause, I don't know is that we could be training different. Like Brandon's path is totally different. His schedule is totally different than mine. Nobody's on the same exact path here at this gym, which I don't know how James is doing it, how he's keeping track of all these guys and going every weekend and doing what he's and developing game plans and watching film, because I feel like that's all Brandon Moreno was missing. And the fact that Brandon is here training with James now, he'll beat Figueroa every time. Like Brandon went from Tijuana to Vegas, and that leveled his game up. But he's going from Vegas to really developing a game plan on how to beat particular guys. And that's going to make Brandon Moreno a big problem, especially for Kai Kara France, because, I think Kai is great, but, man, Brandon, he can do it all, man. And having a coach and a game plan behind him makes him just, really, really dangerous. And, again, our whole team is we're getting the championship treatment right now, just having him and his guys in there. Everybody's leveling up, and it's not an ego thing, and it's not like anybody's trying to get anything over on Brandon, but we're trying to be on his level. And that sometimes, you get your ass kicked trying to be on that level. I know for the last week I've been taking it and happy to have it, and couldn't be, hopefully he comes back again next week so I can get some more.
I love it. You touched on James Krause. I mean, man, he is getting so much respect right now as a coach, and rightfully so. I mean, you see it. So I wonder, because the 2 things that I see, number one, you touch on, is the technical ability, right? The ability to break down opponents and really develop game plans. But the other aspect of it just seems to be like a personal relation almost. You know what I mean? Like an interaction. So can you value one of those over the other, or are they kind of equal parts of what's the recipe for success there?
It's hard for me to say because I know that I don't know. But what I do know is that it takes a certain level of respect and trust to really, I don't know, for a coach to really put himself out there. Not a lot of coaches want to say, hey, you need to do this to win, because if you don't win, then they look bad. And that happened in the Nicolau fight. I was on bottom. I knew deep down in my own head that I should get up. And then James said that I was fine down there. And then he took that loss really personal, but I knew deep down that was my decision. But the fact that James, he takes that loss and he wears that loss, and he completely 100% takes responsibility for that, even though he doesn't have to. But he knows, had he told me, yo, get your fucking ass up and do this, that I would have for sure done it, even if I thought that I was okay and that I should have stayed down there. And, he put himself on the line, and not I'm not willing to do that. I couldn't do that. He takes the wins and he takes the losses. And I don't know how he's not 600 pounds and having a heart attack, because I couldn't do what he does and be healthy. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, I would just be stressed to the max. He's the hardest working guy in MMA. And I felt like me and Brandon Moreno maybe were the hardest working guys in the room, but it's really James Krause. He's the hardest working guy in the room, because he not only is he training and coaching, but his head's in a million different places, like watching film and how to get, he's helping me with financial advice. And the house that I'm in right now, that I live in, is in his name. It's not even in my name. Like, I'm paying for it, but it's in his name because he's got his shit together and he's trying to help me get mine and 30 other, he's fathering 30 other dipshits like me. And, and now one of those dipshits is a world champion, and Brandon Moreno, and the credit that he's getting is deserved, but he's still, he's a special dude, man. And that's why guys are coming here to Kansas City. It's not because of the weather. It's been raining for 10 fucking days.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. All right. Well, listen, June 25th, back here in Las Vegas at the Apex. I guess talk to me what this fight is for you. Because, as you said, it's interesting because it seems like this grudge match, but you guys don't even really know each other. I mean, is this just another fight along the way? Is this something personal? What is this fight for you?
No, man, I love it. I like the grudge. I like that he's, again, it's entertainment, and it's not just a sport. This is the entertainment game, and it's adding another level of things. And for every fight, when people ask me like, "Oh, how are you going to do? How are you going to finish?" I usually, say I plan for 15 minutes, and I'm going to drag this fight out and take him into deep water. But I'm going to finish Amir Albazi. I feel 100% certain that I'm going to finish him, and I will be putting a money on myself that this fight does not go the distance.
I love it. Can't say any better than that. Well, Tim, enjoy the rest of your preparation. I appreciate the time, and we'll see you out here in a couple weeks.
Fuck yeah, thank you.